Well, good morning, Jennifer.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
I am doing fantastic. E-
Great. Good to
Every
see you.
day's a good day.
Yes.
Well, it's good seeing you again.
Likewise.
Yes,
Thank you.
you're very welcome. It's been a few months. How's your
It
husband
has.
doing? How's
Well, December, so
yes,
6 months.
yes, yeah.
Wow, time
How's
flies.
how's your husband and the little doggy doing?
Oh, they're doing great.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you for
wonderful.
asking.
Of course. Well, thank you so much, Jennifer, for joining the authors table, and it's going to be exciting.
Yes, thank you. I love your setup.
Well, thank you. I always change it.
Looks
it's
good.
it's
How's
got.
your wife doing?
I'm sorry.
Your wife, how is she?
Oh, she's doing great. Oh, yeah,
Good.
we're both doing very well. Thank you.
Good. You're welcome.
Now, Jennifer, if you were to write a book starting today, what would the title be, and what would the subject matter be on?
Ooh. I'm actually working on a couple.
Uh
I don't
oh.
have titles yet.
Can you give maybe a little hint of what they are or no?
Yes, one of them is it's another children's book,
Oh, very
and
nice.
it is about a tree kingdom.
Oh,
So there's a prince and a princess, and they are the healers of the forest.
oh, nice.
Yes, so it's going to be pretty exciting. It's kind of a multimedia art format that I'm using. So I like photography as
Yes,
well. It's a hobby for me.
yes.
And I love nature. So all across the country, I've taken pictures of really beautiful and unique trees.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just been playing around with the photos and processing them through some apps and kind of turning them into cartoon-like images.
Nice.
And if I really study them, you can see characteristics in the trees and kind of make out little faces. And so I'm working on adding faces to them and
Oh.
I already have a storyline in place. I'm not sure what I would title it yet. The Healing Forest Kingdom or something like that.
The mysterious forest.
The mysterious, the mystical
That's
forest.
right.
Well, I'm not sure about mystical, but whimsical maybe.
Yeah, that's cool. Oh, good. Now, okay, Jennifer, in one word, describe yourself.
Ambitious.
Yes, I have to agree with that one.
That are a lot of words.
Now,
That's a
Jennifer,
good
now I know you are a busy woman, and you wear many hats, and I know that. Now you're an actor, you're a spokesperson, you're an author, you're a
one.
philanthropist, and a coach.
Yes.
Now, what was your inspiration and motivation to even write a book?
I've loved writing my entire life. So since I was a little girl, I used to draw as well. I don't draw as well now, but when I was a kid, I used to draw, and I had this whole book of a character named Matilda,
Hmm.
who was a Spanish dancer. My heritage comes from Spain, and
Yes.
so I just created this beautiful Spanish dancer, and I would draw and create stories with her. And then, in those middle school years, as a very emotional kid, I really took to writing and realized I had a gift for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I did very well in, all of my schooling with writing. Never thought to be an author. And then my freshman year of college, my professor, my first English 101 professor, said he wanted me to come to his office and speak with him. And naturally, it was like 18, and I thought, oh no, I'm in
I'm in
trouble. What did I?
trouble. Yep.
And so I sat there wondering what he was going to ask me or say to me. And he came into the office and he said, he asked me, have you ever considered being an author? And I said, no. He said, you're a really good writer. And here's the funny thing. He said, but you're really boring.
Oh, jeez. Thanks for that encouragement there.
No. He said, your writing is very mathematical. Everything transitions well. One thing leads to the other, great transitions. He said, but you need to open up and be more creative. And so he inspired me to open up that door of creativity and kind of get rid of all the rules that I had, been taught.
Mm-hmm.
And fast forward, I became a mom, had this beautiful little boy, and he just inspired me so much. It was such a fun process. And I thought, wow, I just need to share this story
Yes.
because this is the most fun time of my life. And I saw other parents not having quite the same mindset towards parenting. And I thought, well, I should take my joy of parenting and put it into a story, which God also inspired me to write,
Yes.
and share it and see if I can inspire other parents to really enjoy this season of their life, which is really temporary, you know?
Yeah, isn't that something though? When you're going through the process, you don't see it until you
Right.
look back and say that all makes sense.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yes,
So I really encourage parents to be in the moment with their children and understand that you're not going to get these moments back. So
that's right.
really, absorb it, be in it, enjoy it, and just make them your favorite person because they're going to get older and
That's
turn
right.
around and say, "Mom, I don't have time for
So,
you."
it's, yeah, look at us, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we get older. I mean, that's just life cycle, right? I mean, it's just you
Yeah.
learn and you take that experience with you and you learn from it and you branch from it and and hopefully you learn from that.
Absolutely.
Yes. Now, Jennifer, when you finished your book, what was your process in like looking for a publisher or being self-published?
Wow, right now there's so many options out there, and they've made it a lot easier to publish a book than it used to be in the past.
Exactly.
But it's still not foolproof, because there's so many options out there that it can be overwhelming.
Right.
And I tend to be a little more of a traditionalist, so I was seeking more of that traditional route. And I am a networker, so I just started asking around for recommendations. And one day I just thought, you know what? I have thousands of people on my Facebook. Somebody's got to know somebody. And so I
Yes.
so I just said, let me try posting it. And I put a post on Facebook asking if anybody knew of an illustrator, number one, and a publisher. And sure enough, I had some actor friends who had other actor friends that had published books. And, just the dots started connecting.
Yes.
And so someone referred me to an illustrator who that's a whole nother process I went through. But someone finally referred me to this illustrator who was working consistently with a publisher. And so she's like, I have this natural relationship. I can refer you to the publisher.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had an interview, and the publisher said, I love what you're doing. All of my books have to have meaning, and you definitely are offering that. And so there you go. A relationship was formed. At the time, the company was called East 26th Street Publishing. They were based out of Texas.
Oh wow.
Unfortunately, they closed down in this past year because of so much self-publishing. I hate to say it, but a lot of publishers are starting to close down. It's
Yeah.
it's getting a little harder for them to compete. So I was published for about 2 years with them, and then I had to republish the same book.
N-
And I said, okay, I'm just going to self-publish this time because we already went through all the steps in the
yes.
marketing, and so
No,
that's where I'm at now.
when you were like looking for an illustrator, did you already have in mind what kind of like style you wanted?
I did. I
Okay.
wish I had pictures to show you. So I had two ideas in mind. They were both cartoon looking.
Mm-hmm.
However, the original concept that I had my mindset on was a more realistic cartoon. So it looked a little more organic than the traditional, you know,
Yes.
clip art cartoons.
Right.
But I had an illustrator give me a mock-up of the cover, and I used some real life photos as inspiration for them to create these photos. And I thought it was cute, but I felt like there was something missing. So I had another illustrator create not this exact cover, but a similar one, similar style. And so I put those two together and I created a focus study, a focus group with little children,
There
with
you go.
probably about
Nice.
12 children. And I had them vote, and I had the parents vote as well on which style they liked better. And it turned out it was really interesting. The adults liked the more realistic pictures, they thought it was more relatable. But all the kids, hands down, loved the traditional
Yes.
cartoon.
Of course.
So, yep. So that's how this was born. And then there's this cartoon called Coco Melon that I had seen a few times, and I loved the look of the characters. And so when I finally narrowed down my illustrator, I said, that's kind of the feel I want to go for, that cartoon
Yes.
style.
Yes.
She grasped it immediately.
I noticed that the she looks like you, Jennifer.
Yeah, she looks like me.
Uh,
That's me right there.
yes.
And that's my little boy who's
Yes.
now not a little boy.
Yeah, I
Now he's
know.
grown.
Well, I mean, when I saw him last, I mean, he was pretty good size.
Yeah, he's an adult now. I mean, he just graduated from college in December.
He did.
He did, yes.
Oh, that okay. I
Yeah,
understand. Yeah, that's right.
yeah,
Because yeah, the okay. I'm I'm
yeah,
I'm I'm back now. No,
yeah, he just graduated from Yale University.
oh, fantastic.
Yes, we're so grateful.
Oh, absolutely. Now, Jennifer, let's talk about your book, Sunny Days with Mommy and Me. So, can you go into somewhat of a detail, like of what your book is about, and then because your book also it can be a guide, and people can use it as a tool as well.
Yes. So here's a can you see that? Oh, it's kind of disappearing in the green screen there. But you can see the
Oh,
cover
yeah,
behind me.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
kind of cutting off the top. But yes, it's Sunny Days with Mommy and Me.
nice.
And I chose that title because God tells us to be a light in the world. And for me, the sun is a great representative of that. And it brings me personal joy and energy. And that was an approach that I took to parenting.
Sure.
No, it wasn't easy. We had a lot of hardships, but I knew that I had one shot at making a good relationship with my son and giving him a good childhood.
Yes.
So, despite the many challenges we had, I knew that I was in control of my mindset. And so, I wanted to foster a joyful environment
Hmm.
and a very structured home, which I realized through raising him, there are a couple mama light bulbs that went off that made me realize how important structure is for children. And, there was this time where I was tucking my son in to bed one night. He was about 4 or 5 years old. And he says, "Oh, mommy, you forgot to do something I forgot to do that I did every night before bed." And I thought, oh my goodness, you
Yes.
really are keeping track.
Yes.
He noticed that I was a little out of step that day, and this huge light bulb went off that said he needs that routine. He's dependent on structure. He doesn't understand time. Little kids don't understand 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 hours from now. They have no concept of time, but they do understand a sequence of things happening.
Hmm.
That helps them to understand how the day should flow, what the expectations of them are, and it makes them feel safe.
Right.
And when I made that connection, I realized, oh my gosh, I don't think a lot of parents understand this because one of the complaints I hear is that they don't have structure, that their house is chaotic, and things are all kind of sporadic. And so I felt like this is something I have to share with other moms. And so that was a huge piece to this puzzle.
Yes.
And so when I wrote the story, yes, it's a story for children and encouraging them to behave and be good little helpers and be responsible and learn healthy habits. But as I was writing the story, it started to kind of reveal itself to me that this is not just for the children,
That's
this is
right.
for the parents as
That's
well, showing the parents how to create a routine and, focus on quality time with the child,
that's right.
kind of be at the same level of understanding that they need that as much as the parents do because it might be a little harder up front, to be consistent and do that work every day. But in the long run, it really pays off
That's
because you
right.
end up generally with a well behaved child who understands time management, their expectations, and then you form a well functioning team.
That's right. Well said.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think in pretty much like anything, it's always that first step is the hardest.
It is. It is. And
And
it takes self discipline, as a parent. But if you want your children to learn self discipline, which really is an essential life skill, then it
yes,
has to start with a parent. Parents are the first teachers of their children. And so you really, as a parent, have the power to set your kids up at a young age for success or for failure.
that's right.
So you got to set them on their right path. And that was a responsibility I knew I had. And even though I was a young parent, I'm so happy that I recognized it early. And look, it really has paid off.
yes,
I have a great relationship with my son. He did amazing in school. He's always had great time management skills. He's been in so many positions of leadership.
nice.
Just graduated magna cum laude with distinction from Yale University. So it's like, woo, thank you.
Well, that's a huge accomplishment right there.
It is. It is. And I was a single mom for 13 years doing that. And so, there's some hope and encouragement that I share with parents that this it works for a team of two parents, but it can also work for a single parent, whether you're a mom or a dad. But it starts with your mindset and your own self-discipline.
Yes, you know
You
what?
can't say, "Oh, I'm a single mom, I can't do it." No, yes, you can.
Yes,
I was a single mom.
well, it's nice about your book too because it's not just like you focused. It's not just focused on children.
Right.
It's for anyone that could be going through the same situations, or um, it's it's hard. It's everybody goes through different cycles in their life, and I think when I don't want to say people when they lose touch,
Hmm.
that's where I think your book is very helpful because it can bring them back
Hmm.
into what they need to do for themselves too.
Yes,
Not
exactly.
and that so it could be a guide for even adults. You know,
Exactly. That was
because
my goal. And I have had a couple of parents have those light bulb moments,
oh sure,
call me and say, Jenny, I was reading this to my child and this was for me. I'm learning, and then I have other, parents in my close circle and they'll call me and say, Jenny, what do I do? Things are kind of out of control. And I'll say, hey, how long has it been since you read my book? Go back to the basics. It's all in there. You just have to open your eyes
yes,
and really just pay attention. You need structure. What are you doing? Do you have a chore list set up? Are you communicating with your kids? Are you spending quality time with them? Are you putting the phones away for dinner? Are you encouraging them to eat well, to exercise? Everything's in there from health to structure to quality
yes.
time. And, at first glance, people might not realize that, oh, it's a cute little children's book, but it's really deep if you pay
Oh yeah,
attention.
there's meaning.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think there's meaning, and it covers everyday life
Right.
the way it should be.
The way
But
it should be. I love that you said that. Right.
all right. Now, Jennifer, when you finished your book and when once you had it out there, what was your or what is your feedback regarding your book?
I had a great launch team on the day that I published, or a couple days after we published, we did a book launch. And so I had a really good launch team in place that was so helpful in promoting it. And they had an early look at the book so they could read it and give me reviews. And so by day one, I had between 45 and 50 reviews already,
Nice,
and it was great feedback. So I had feedback from pastors who endorsed the book. I also had a psychotherapist who's a family and children's mental health counselor endorse the book as well. I had a bunch of teachers that gave me great reviews and endorsed it. And I to this day my two favorite compliments and reviews on the book. One was from my mom.
Well, of course, you have to have mom.
She made me cry. She said something like, I wish you were my mom. And that was just so special. And then I have another friend. Her name is Pollyanna. She's a singer and she never had children. And she called me crying. And I was so confused. I said, wait a minute, you're having the wrong reaction. She's like, oh,
You're
why
not
are
supposed
you
to cry.
crying? And she says, Jennifer, you don't understand. She goes, I've never had children. She said, my biggest fear in life was to be a single mom.
Oh,
And she said, and now I regret not taking that chance. She said, I missed out on such a beautiful opportunity during my childbearing years. And she said, this story is so beautiful and you turned something challenging into something so beautiful. And she personally, knew my son or knows my son.
mm-hmm.
Like, wow, fear robbed me. And she said, I really hope that other people are really encouraged by this book. And those words were kind of prophetic because
Mm-hmm.
fast forward to last year, I was coaching some at-risk youth, some teenagers, and two of them were pregnant. They were young girls, 18, 19, and they were considering not having their babies. But they gave me an opportunity to speak with them. And I gave them each a copy of my book. And I
Yes,
said, I want you to read this and come back and tell me what you think. I said, because I know how hard it is. I'm not going to sugarcoat it and tell you it's easy. It will be the hardest thing you ever do in your life, but it will also be the most rewarding thing you ever do in your life.
that's right.
And this is a blessing, but you have to change your perspective.
Yes,
So read the book, get back to me, and we'll talk again. I said, I was a little bit older than you, but I was still in college. I was still pretty young. And unfortunately, I ended up being a single mom. So it was hard. And I said, but go through the story and tell me what you think. And they came back and they were like, Miss Rosario,
yes,
you made it seem so beautiful. I said, it is beautiful. It's hard.
yeah.
It's really hard, but it's beautiful. And
But I
courage.
think, yeah, and I think too that what makes it beautiful and people can relate to is the fact of the illustration itself too.
Yes,
It
yes.
looks playful, joyful,
Hmm. Hmm.
but under all that, you can deal with serious issues.
Yes. Hmm.
So and I think that's where people can connect and really
Yeah.
relate to.
So two babies were saved
Yeah.
that I know of. They both had their babies and they're beautiful, healthy children. And the moms it's
Nice, very
challenging.
nice.
They're doing well. And so it was interesting that I had that initial review from my friend Pollyanna. And then just 2 years later, two moms decided to keep their babies because of it. So it was a blessing to have that impact.
Yes, I mean I think that's very important. Especially as what you went through too, and also as an author, for someone
Right.
to say that,
Hmm.
about your book that you put together,
Yes.
I think that speaks volumes.
Thank you. It did. I've had so many surprising reactions to the book. When you write the book, you don't really know what to expect and you hope
Yes.
people receive it well. And some of the responses really opened my eyes.
Oh,
I said,
sure.
oh my gosh, I never even thought about these outcomes, which are so much bigger and more powerful than I ever imagined.
You think about the lives you touch,
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
don't. You're right. You don't even think about it. You're writing your book about
Right.
you. You know, but then once it's out there, you think about all the people that gone through what you went through,
Yes.
or maybe learning from, or they need to as like a tool, and
Right.
you touch everybody's lives. I think that's really something to feel
Thank
proud of.
you. It feels great and very humbling. It's a true blessing.
Yes. Now
I
what?
had Sorry, I even had one mom. She was a single mom of multiple children, and she was living in a shelter
Hmm.
doing a community event, reading the book. It was like a back to school event. And she stayed afterwards to ask me a few questions. And I really had the opportunity to have a heart to heart with her. And she wanted to learn a little more about my struggles. Clearly, she was in a challenging position. And then we both got very emotional. And she said, I have to tell you, you're like my new role model. She said, I want to be an author, but I gave up on the dream because I thought, I'm trapped. I'm a single mom. I'll never be able to do that. And here you are, you've done it, and you've given me hope that it's not too late. I can do it. It might not
Yes.
happen today, but this story, the concept came about 15 years before it was published. So when she
Yes.
heard me say that, she's like, "Oh my gosh, I have time."
Yes. Well, that makes you feel so good though that you're actually touching someone.
Yes.
Even if someone you never knew,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
complete stranger, and out of the blue, it's like, man, you changed my life, kind of thing.
Yeah. This book's made me cry a couple times already just from people's reactions.
Sure,
I'm just
absolutely.
like, oh my
Yes.
goodness.
Now, what does your son feel? How does he feel about the book?
Oh, he's so amazing. He really loves it.
Yes.
I When I was writing the story, I didn't share the whole story with him yet or the pictures. I would kind of give him little clues here and there. And then along the way, I would ask him a couple of questions. And then here's the funniest question I would ask him. I would say, Marcos, you do remember this, right? And he's like, yes, mom, of course I remember.
It's like, oh, mom.
Yes, so funny. So when it finally came out, he was very excited
Yeah.
and very encouraging. And even though he was in college, he wasn't embarrassed or anything like that. In fact, he shared it with all of his friends.
Oh, yeah.
A few of his friends gave reviews, and then it was kind of a fun thing for him on campus because they're like, "Wow,
Yeah.
Marcos, your mom wrote a book about you."
Yeah. See, that's me on the cover.
Yeah.
That is
Yes,
awesome.
but he's been amazing. He loves it.
So,
Plus,
Jennifer, what were some? Yeah.
hmm?
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jennifer.
It'll be something great for him to share with his kids, when he
Absolutely.
becomes a dad.
Yeah, absolutely. That's right. Now,
Mhm.
what were some of your challenges, Jennifer, for when you were putting your book together? What were some of the obstacles and hurdles that you overcame?
Yes, and there were two big ones that I had to overcome. One was finding the right illustrator.
Yeah.
So I initially had two other illustrators that I was trying to work with, and they were both very talented, but one had a gift and could do part of what I needed, and the other one, same thing, but neither of them had all of what I needed
Right.
and
Yes.
couldn't exactly grasp 100% what I was doing. And so twice I had to go back, no pun intended, to the drawing board and restart. And that's when Facebook was a resourceful tool again, and I was led to several illustrators. So I had several recommendations from Facebook, and these were more on a local basis, which was nice because then I got to personally interview them, look over some of their published work. And that's what led me to Megan Lawson, the illustrator that I finally settled on, who has been amazing. So that was one big hurdle. It did take me a while to get that worked out. And then the other one was quite interesting. I had already written the story, excuse me, I had already written the story and already established a relationship with the publisher, and she was going through the editing. And she says, Jenny, I have to tell you, the story is beautiful. She says it's like all rainbows and butterflies and happy, and that's great. And I could publish it the way it is. However, today's kids are more advanced, they're more mature, they're dealing with a lot of issues. And she said, your book might be a little unrelatable to a lot of kids.
Hmm.
And that's because I didn't have any conflict in the story. So I focused on the routine and all the positivity.
Yes.
She said it's beautiful, but how many parents and families actually have like this perfect, beautiful life? And I said, well, nobody. I didn't either. And then I said to her, Krista, the more beautiful something looks, generally, the more pain there is behind that story. And she said,
Hmm.
I know. And that's what I
Yes.
need to kind of show. She
Yes.
said, you're not mentioning the dad in the story. You're not really saying what your conflict is. And I started crying. I was really hurt. I knew she had a great point, and I said, you're so right. I grew up with so many issues as a kid. I was an adult by the time I was 5, and this wasn't my life. This was my son's life
Yes.
because I
Yes.
did things so differently. I said, but this wasn't my life, and it's really not the average kid's life. And so that was kind of like a brutal reality that I had to swallow. I started crying. My husband came home and he found me in my office, was like hysterically crying. He said, what's
Oh.
the matter with you? I said, I need to
Yeah.
go pray because I don't want to completely change my story and I don't want to make it negative and sad and depressing. And I have to figure out how to add a pain point without completely changing the
Right.
moral of the story.
Yes.
So I did. I went and I prayed, through my tears. And God doesn't always answer right away, but I have to say that day He did. He revealed to me how to kind of just zoom in really quick, touch on the pain points so that you can say, here's my flag, there's something going on, but then kind of zoom back out and resume the story. And I know I had only one person out of over 100 people that said, you did that really quickly. And I said, yeah, that was intentional because it didn't have to change the story.
Right.
I just need
Yeah.
to let you know we are dealing with some adversity, but despite that, we choose to be happy. We choose to be
That's right.
functional and move forward. And that was really challenging for me, but I feel like we accomplished it well and the publisher was she was happy with that.
That's wonderful. Now, now, like having a publisher, the ISBN number that is yours, though, correct?
I It depends. So with her, I retained 100% of my copyrights. I wasn't clear on the ISBN when she closed down. There were some communication issues there,
Yes.
so I did have to generate a new
Oh, you
ISBN.
did. Okay.
Yeah, so in some cases, people might be able to keep it, but I did have to change it.
That's where I mentioned to others too about when you have a publisher, make sure everything's in writing.
Yes,
Make sure that that ISBN is yours to keep, no matter if you stay with them or move on,
right.
because it can get a
Yeah,
little
that's
tricky
good
too.
advice. I do have my contract. I could review and see what it says about the ISBN, but unfortunately, it's been hard to get access to her since she closed her
Right.
door.
Yes. Yes.
So at that, I spent almost a year trying to figure out how to republish, just because the communication almost completely dropped off, and I wasn't getting answers.
Yes.
And I know some people took a legal route, but I didn't want to stain my experience. And so I said, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm not really going to gain much out of this at this point, and I don't want to stain it. I'm just going to move forward and look for a solution.
Well.
And it did take me a long time to find that solution, but I finally did, and I just self published the
Yes.
second time around.
Yeah. Especially being a self-publisher, you could actually it's cheaper just get a new ISBN number,
Yeah, yeah,
and
exactly.
then just put a new one on there and it's done.
Right.
And then trying
Mhm.
to go to legal things and it's going to cost you more than what it's
Yes,
worth.
yes. That was ugly, and I didn't want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I found a way, and I think we're in a good place.
That's good. That's wonderful. No,
And it
no,
releases me to work on other projects, and
that's right.
and so I next week will be the week of June 17th. I have a coloring and activity book that's coming out.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes, that accompanies this book. I don't know if the green screen is going to allow this, but I've been promoting it online.
It's
Uh,
a little bit. It's cut out.
yeah, no, it's cutting off.
Yeah,
But yeah, so I'm going to make two, but I did already publish one this week, but it'll be live next week. So it's called Sunny Days with Mommy and Me Coloring and Activity Book, and it's the Jesus edition.
oh.
so, so that one is it's faith based, but I'm also working on a secular one because I think it's important to share those valuable lessons with everyone, whether they share the same faith with me or not.
That's right.
Hmm.
Yes. Now, will those be ready in November?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, fantastic. Good.
Yeah, so the Jesus edition will be ready in a few days.
Excellent.
That's like ready to go.
Excellent.
And I self-published that. My son was my formatter, and he helped with the cover design. He's so talented.
A family
Actually,
affair,
he
huh?
helped cover on the back. A family fair,
Oh,
yes.
that's awesome.
And so grateful to him. And I said, okay, we'll get ready because now the secular one is coming out. And, it's really been very Holy Spirit led. I wrote my first draft in a day and a half.
Wow.
It took more time to do the editing and formatting than it did to write. And so in under 12 days, I was able to get it published. And so I'll be working on the next one.
Excellent. Now is your style like? I think you just said it actually. Is when you start writing, you just write and then edit it when you're done, or do you do it as you go?
I kind of do a combination. I normally I would say the perfectionist in me likes to edit as I go.
Yes.
But that's one of the lessons I've been learning through my writers group and just as an artist is to just let the creativity flow
Yeah.
first, get it out of your system, and then go back
That's
and
right.
edit. So
I
because it's
agree.
kind of different mindsets,
Yes, I agree. I think if when you're in that zone, just write.
Yes,
Because if you keep
exactly.
stopping, it's gonna cut off
Yeah.
your.
Interrupts. You're like switching from left brain to right brain, and yes.
That's
So I'm
right.
learning to just let it flow and
That's
then
right.
come back and revisit with my editor's hat,
That's right. Now, Jennifer, do you have a website so others can learn more about you and purchase your
I
books?
do. I do. It's jennyrosario.com.
Oh, excellent.
Hmm.
Now you have an event this afternoon, correct?
I do. So right after this, it's so great that everything kind of landed in the same day. I'm like
Yeah.
so charged up today. I have two events today. One is book focused, but after this, I'll be going to downtown St. Cloud, and I will be parking at Pop's Waffle and Ice Cream Shop in downtown St. Cloud, which is really cool because there's an ice cream page in my book.
Oh,
It's very befitting.
so I know where your husband's going to be.
Yeah. And so it's so cool because the city of St. Cloud and here in Florida is
Hmm.
hosting an event called Storybook Adventures.
Oh, nice.
And yes, and so today I'm the guest author, and it's pretty much set up like a scavenger hunt.
Oh,
So the
nice.
city purchased 22 books from me. One of them, they're just tearing all of the pages out, then they laminate them, they put a number on it, and then they place a page on different stores throughout the city. And the kids have to go and find the pages and read the story that way.
Oh,
And
that'll
the
be fun.
trail, isn't that cool?
Oh,
The
yeah.
trail leads them to me, the last page at the ice cream shop, where they will receive a free book and get to take pictures and get an autograph. And then I have these cool ice cream posters from the book that I'll
Oh,
be
how
giving out.
awesome.
Very
Now, did you
fun.
come up with those that that event? Did you come up with
No,
that?
the city puts this event on, and they gave me the invitation to participate.
Oh, that is awesome.
It is so cool.
Yeah.
Yes, it's such a great town. They do so many things in this community.
I think that's another one of those marketing things, strategies where you get people involved, and they also then they get your book at the end.
Right, right. And
It's a win-win.
it is a win-win.
That is
Very,
wonderful.
very, very unique idea. I love it. So I was
Yeah.
very excited. And there's a tea room downtown that I love. That's kind of one of my hobbies is to visit tea rooms in different
Yeah.
towns. It's a very unique craft, basically.
Yes.
And I befriended the owner of the tea room, who's such a sweet lady. And she's just so active in the community. And so I did a book signing at her tea room around the holidays,
Oh,
which went
wonderful.
really well. And then when this event popped up for the city, she was talking to the leaders of this program and recommended me. And so, sure enough, I received the invitation and accepted. I'm
Oh,
so
sure.
excited to be part of it.
Networking is key, isn't it?
Absolutely. Yes.
And I think that's part of when I talk to other authors, and that they think you put all your blood, sweat, and tears in your book, in which you should be very proud of, but they don't know what to do after that.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
there's so many, oh, in one sense, social media has given us more opportunities, but it's also made it more difficult, because it's kind of just like this endless wormhole
Oh, yes.
that has an
Yes.
insatiable appetite. And people think, oh, I'll just dump it on social media, but you're losing a personal touch there, and it just gets lost in the sea of posts.
Yes. It's
And
saturated
so
with
it
ideas.
is. It is.
Hmm.
So I think there's still a lot of value in one-on-one networking and doing community events and just
Yes.
word of mouth and people seeing your face. And
That's right.
I know the kids love it. I always wear a yellow shirt with a picture of the book on it. I have a couple different styles, and the kids just get a kick out of it.
Yes.
Who doesn't want to meet an author when you're a kid? It's just so exciting.
It'd be
So,
cool. I just thought of it. I'm looking at your son in the background.
yes.
Now, wouldn't that be cool as a pillow?
Oh, I love that idea.
Just like his head as the pillow.
Yes. Wow, that's a great idea.
You
Thank
know,
you for that.
of course.
I know someone that makes those things too,
Yeah,
actually.
I
I
mean, I
love
think
it.
why not? I mean, the kids can connect to characters,
Yes.
and
Yes.
as well as Disney is very good at that.
Yeah, exactly. You
So
just
why not?
reminded me. I forgot. I think I have a giant cardboard cutout of him in the ice cream scene. I need to see if I can grab
See,
that before I leave. I totally forgot about it. I have all these things everywhere.
yeah, see networking, see communication.
Yes.
Yes,
Oh, thank you. I love that idea.
yeah, and I think that is so huge when you have characters in your book, and then the kids relate to. I mean, the sky's the limit after that.
Yes,
You can
absolutely.
create all kinds of things for giveaways
Yes,
to they buy your book, you get this, or like a gift basket. I mean, there's so many things.
right. Yes.
you
I
know
did give a gift basket away at an event almost 2 years ago, and I did like a raffle. And it was so cute because the family that won the raffle, they called me, and my church happened to be hosting like this big fun event for the kids. It was also around the holidays, and the family came to my church. They received their basket. The kids got to play and go on the rides and eat. We took pictures. And through these things, parents will call me back and say, we didn't really have faith in our home before, never taught about Jesus. And now my kid is on fire for Jesus and wants a Bible for Christmas. And,
See, you
and they're
change
like,
people's lives.
yeah. And they're like, we're okay with that. We love it.
Yeah, absolutely, you should be.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
And now, will you be at the event in November, the Authors for Authors, this year?
I think so.
Okay, that'd be
Yes.
wonderful. It'd be
Yes.
great to see you guys again.
Yes, absolutely. That was fun.
Yes, it
That was
was.
really nice. And I
Yeah.
got a lot of Christmas gifts there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's a good opportunity to support local artisans.
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
And I got some amazing gifts there.
And I can
Mhm.
see your little doggy again too.
Oh yeah, sweet. That's another story that I need to work on. I have an idea of little animals,
Sure.
which is funny because I work in entertainment as an actor, and I went to
Yes,
film school. So my background is film and television production and acting. And my end goal really is to create screenplays that are not cartoons, that are movies for adults. Um, but God told me to start here, and He just keeps downloading all these
yes,
creative ideas.
yes,
And I love kids. And I was making a joke the other day with my husband because I do have acting coaches that I work with also. And recently, one of them said to me, Jenny, I love how you're so in touch with your playful child, right? Your inner child. And I,
yes.
I received that as such a huge compliment because I feel like I'm more in touch with my inner child now as an adult than I was as a child. I was so stressed out as a child. I needed to focus on like big issues, and not
Just
that I
survive.
don't have to now, but
Yes,
I just feel like I have the ability now to express myself more freely and playfully than I did back then.
and you are doing just that.
Thank you. So
Yes,
I'm on this children's journey, and I do have a couple more installments of the Sunny Days books that I would like to produce
yes,
and kind of dive a little more uh, deep into some of the challenges because there were more challenges along the way. And I've had people ask for it. And I've had kids ask for certain things like Christmas celebration, birthday celebration. I'm like, okay, I'm onto something here. So
but doesn't that make you
I,
feel good though?
it does, it does. And then ultimately, I'd love to be able to pitch a cartoon series for it.
Wouldn't that be something?
Yes, I would love to do that. So I have some really big, big end goals. I'm just still on my journey of getting there.
Well, Jennifer, you have a lot of great connections where you are,
Thank
and
you.
I think you need to, within reason, utilize them. You know,
Yes,
and without stepping over. Without getting in trouble, kind of thing.
right, right.
But yeah, you have the means. It's just the timing too. You
Yes,
know.
yes,
It's really going to be something. I would love to see that, in a cartoon series or even a play.
oh yeah. I have thought about that, doing a little
Yeah.
play.
Yes.
Yeah, there's so many endless opportunities
Yes.
and avenues that I can go with, and I think I'm onto something. So
Yes.
hopefully we'll get there
Yeah.
and meet the right people and just
Ma-
move
just
forward.
imagine if you have like a sea of kids, and all you do is see the top of their heads are screaming because they want to see the, you know,
Yeah.
you never
I
know.
tease my son. How
Yeah.
does it feel that little kids have posters of you in their bedroom? And he's
That,
like,
that's
that's kind of
awesome.
weird.
That's awesome. But well, Jennifer, I thank you so very much for taking the time this morning, and I know you have to get ready for your event. And but thank you so much for being on the author's table today, and I enjoyed it so much.
Me too. Such a pleasure. Thank you for having me. It's really an honor to be here.
Well, thank you so much, and I'm glad. And I'm hoping to see you in November,
Yes.
and see your new books.
Oh, great. Yes. Thank
Yes,
you.
you're very welcome, and you have a fantastic day, and good luck this afternoon.
Thank you.
You're
You have a
very
great
welcome.
day
Okay, bye,
too. Bye,
Jennifer.
everyone.
Bye.